Hey everyone, welcome back to Health Chats. Today's episode is a personal one, and I want to preface it by saying this isn't about telling you what to do, but about sharing my own journey with alcohol and what I've learned along the way. If you've ever questioned your relationship with drinking or felt like you don't quite fit into the party culture anymore, I hope this episode speaks to you. So let's rewind to when I first started drinking. This might sound shocking, but I was 12 years old. I grew up in a small town, and if you've lived in or even heard about small towns, you probably know what I mean when I say your free time often gets filled with partying, drinking, doing drugs, or diving into sports from a young age. It's like you either get into trouble or you become an athlete. Like there's no in between. And I'm not sure if this is just a small town thing or if it happens in cities too. Honestly, I don't know. But most people I've spoken to from small towns, they have had a similar experience. So picture this. I'm 12. Think of a 12-year-old. And one of my best friends who lived in a nearby small town, she came to visit for the weekend. We had this brilliant idea to get a bottle of Malibu rum. And I want to say the inspiration for this was that song. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like 151 rum. I'm not going to sing it. But this song, now looking into where I am in my life, I'm 27 years old. I do neuro-linguistic programming. It just shows how powerful lyrics are and the media that we consume. They really shape our choices. But I was a kid. Back then, and we were like, let's get a bottle of Malibu. And wild, looking back, a 16-year-old was the one who bought it for us. We didn't even get someone of legal age. And we decided to drink it straight from the bottle, chasing it with watermelon. Not even pop, not even soda, just watermelon. And these two young girls, we were 12, we drank the entire bottle. Somehow we didn't die. I don't know how. We split it between two, probably like 60, I don't know how much we weighed back then, but we were tiny and we didn't die, but I felt awful the next morning. I have never felt that awful in my whole life. Even just thinking about it cringes me in like a whole body feeling because I was so hungover. And that was my first experience with alcohol. And even then, there was this feeling of being cool or being accepted as someone who drank, even though I felt so shitty, like so poor. And so kind of like growing up, I guess you can probably relate to seeing that drinking alcohol, it was everywhere. I saw my parents do it, older kids were doing it at school, my neighbors. It was just so normalized to drink alcohol. And that wasn't the last time. Between 12 and 18, I had more than a handful of similar nights where I would drink straight vodka, just like pure liquor from the bottle. I don't know why we didn't mix it back then. Like, what were we thinking? I don't know. But by the time I turned 18, I had already gone out to clubs. I had a fake ID. And that's the legal drinking age here. I know that it's different in the States and in different parts of Canada, but I had already done the whole going out thing, and I probably ruined it for myself if things had looked differently. But it seemed like every time I drank, it ended the same way. It would be a blackout night. It would be a poor decision that I would make with men. It would become arguments with my family, with my friends. There would be tears. I can't think of a single time where alcohol led to something positive from 12 onward. Someone always got hurt, whether that was emotionally, physically, or both. And there is a big history of alcoholism in my family. I know I'm not the only one there. About 4 years ago, I went on a big solo trip, and you know what? I might have the timelines totally wrong. I think this was like three to 4 years ago. And that trip will be another story, but it really changed my life. On that trip, I drank maybe 2 or 3 times. I was solo, and since being young and trying alcohol and doing that from 12 to 18, I did realize that I didn't like it. I think I said in a previous episode that I would be that girl who was like, nah, I'm not drinking for 6 months. And I wouldn't. I never struggled with addiction to it myself. But on this trip, I would drink only if I was with someone that I met. And that was the first time where I experienced drinking alcohol and not actually creating any chaos. There was nothing chaotic that happened from it. But even then, I woke up feeling so anxious. I hated how I felt in my body. I didn't feel healthy. I felt like any fitness or nutrition or like mindset work that I had done for myself, it was just completely thrown out the window, poured down the drain because I chose to have, half a bottle of wine or something. And so that was a big turning point for me. That was the time where I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, Kels, you've been on a health journey now for a few years. Again, I might have the timelines a little bit wrong. And you're still, participating in this thing that drops you way out of consciousness and makes you feel like complete shit. And what I really came to realize is consciousness matters. It matters to me. Living in a higher state of awareness, it means that I care deeply about my choices. I care about how I feel, how I act, and what results that those things bring. I find when I'm intoxicated and other people, I risk slipping into more of that unconscious behavior. I say things that I regret. I see it in other people all the time. And doing things that just don't align with who I really want to be and who I identified as. And so, as someone who lives very intentionally, the decision was pretty simple. I, again, looked at myself in the mirror and was like, nah, I don't want alcohol to be a part of my life. And luckily, it wasn't an addiction. This wasn't something that took me going in for support or any sort of AA. It was more just me realizing, like, where did I want to belong? And who do I want to belong with? Because a big reason why people drink alcohol is for that belonging, is for the social connection, is for, my friends are doing it, so I want to do it too. And it's human to want to belong. But the people who drink to numb out every weekend, those personally aren't the type of people that I want to feel close to. That's not who I want to belong to. The people I surround myself with now, they value their health. They value consciousness, intentional living, connection, and growth. And really, those are the people who I want to belong to. For me, that means not really drinking. And I'll be honest, there was some social awkwardness at first. I think you'll be able to relate to this. Like if you're thinking of making a change and you feel like, I don't know if I'll be able to go out, there will be discomfort. That is part of the process. You will feel weird sometimes and you might feel left out. You might feel lonely. You might need to find new communities. But any sort of growth, it requires discomfort. Change starts with you. And sitting in that temporary awkwardness is often what leads to long-term alignment and peace. And I want you to know I didn't make this episode to convince you to stop drinking. I just wanted to share my story to show you that it is possible to live a full, fun, connected life without alcohol. If you're sober curious or questioning your relationship with alcohol, I want you to know that you're not alone. I know so many people who are exploring this right now. It seems to be a trend, and I think this is a really good trend. I also don't judge anyone who does drink, but I do naturally find myself connecting more deeply with people who use alcohol consciously or not at all. Some of my friends, they do drink on occasion, but the difference I notice is their relationship isn't controlling and it's not destructive. That's the key difference. So if this episode resonated with you, or if you're ready to make meaningful changes in your health and mindset, please reach out. While I don't work with addiction specifically, I do specialize in shifting habits, perspective, that relationship that you have with alcohol or with food. And you can find me on Instagram at Kelsey Grieveson or visit my website at ccoaching.ca. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Chats. If you found it helpful, inspiring, thought-provoking, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. And remember, as always, take care of your body, protect your peace, and stay curious. Thanks, guys. Bye.